Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, step right up and gather round for a show like no other. Now, what we have for you today is something truly special. Welcome to the Black Sheep Narrative, where our badass hosts, Nick Esposito and Jon Klipstein, will be taking you on a journey. And that's what makes this podcast so damn special. Because it's all about the black sheep. The ones who don't follow the rules. The ones who carve their own path. So sit back, relax, get ready to have your mind blown. The Black Sheep Narrative is here, and it's gonna be one hell of a ride. So join us now, and let's get this party started.
Welcome back to the Black Sheep Narrative.
Episode 2.
Episode 2, Episode 3, kind of. We started with 0. 0 was the introduction.
Now you're confusing me.
So we did Episode 0,
Yep.
which was the introduction. Then we did Episode 1.
Which is 1.
Okay, so we're on Episode 2 now.
1, 2.
Okay.
But you're saying physically it's 3.
Physically, it's the third one.
Okay.
Okay.
Got that clarified.
We're all clarified now. So we were talking this week about what topic we wanted to bring up for the podcast that me and you wanted to talk about. And I think you get a lot of questions and I get a lot of questions about entrepreneurship in the sense of health and fitness, because that's really all we can talk about with entrepreneurship. You owning a supplement company and then me owning an apparel company. A lot of people reach out, and I thought that we could go over some questions off the top of my head and some questions that I would like to just present to you to see what your answers are for this.
Oh.
Because there's some stuff that bothers me in the industry, and I
Okay.
know that bothers you.
Yep.
Because as we had a discussion in length this week, we can bring about people reaching out, that kind of stuff. But we'll bring that up. So let's talk about entrepreneurship, Jon.
Let's do it.
So in the industry, I think let's start with some positive topics.
Oh, we're going to go negative too?
I have negatives and positives, right? Because we can go down the negative rabbit hole as well. I think it's easy. I think it's easy to go in the negative because
Let's start with the positives.
positives. Why do you like being an entrepreneur? What does that give you and your family? And
Oh, that's it?
yeah,
Oh, I thought you were...
yeah. Why do you like being an entrepreneur? Let's
For
start
me-
off with that.
For me, I feel it's all about freedom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been in the military. I've been in the business world, corporate America too, where you have a ceiling, you know? And it's also when you climb that corporate ladder, there's just so much more stress. And in my opinion, it's uncontrolled stress.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're an entrepreneur, you have stress, but it's controlled. Like you know what your goals are, and you're going to take on this additional stress because you're benefiting you're benefiting your family. So like right now, I oftentimes joke, and it's like, hey, I traded in my 9-to-5, now I work 24/7, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, which is true. In the beginning you do, but you do it to reach a goal.
Yeah.
Right. So you trade that time now for the freedom in the future. And that's really what I'm looking for is, number one, I love what I do. And when I worked in corporate America, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't love what I did. I was working for a man. I was making a big corporation a ton of fucking money.
Yeah.
And being an entrepreneur, it's nice because everything falls on your shoulders. The wins, the losses, like it's all on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in a position where I feel like I'm doing something. So like with UXO supplements, it's, yes, we're selling sports nutrition products, but we have a mission behind it. And that's where I feel like I'm adding value to my life, that I'm doing something important.
Yeah.
By giving back to the veteran-focused nonprofits that help veterans with PTSD and stuff like that. So that just, for me, that's what it's about being an entrepreneur, is living the life I want to live, having the freedom, and doing something I love, waking up every day and love going to work. Like here, we're here on Saturday,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. Away from our families. Mm-hmm. But again, it's something I love doing.
Yeah, something that you can build. And I feel with the corporate America or the 9-to-5 job, it's easy to get complacent because you know you're going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks. You get complacent with entrepreneurship or owning a business. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could fail, and and then your family fails, and then it just, you know, so
they basically say that, like, like you said, if you get complacent, and I feel like being an entrepreneur, it's not all sexy and glam. And people hear that and like, oh, that sounds cool. He just jumped in and started his own business, right? Mm-hmm. There's a reason that 4 out of 5 entrepreneurs fail within the first 5 years.
Yeah.
Right. And it's because a lot of them are not ready for that challenge. A lot of them, maybe they're not doing something they're passionate about. They're chasing the almighty dollar. Mm-hmm. And you're going to fail if that's what your focus is just how do I make money? How do I make money?
Yeah. I think, especially in the supplement industry, it's got to be crazy. Like, I mean, we talked about it with how many people are getting in. Like, I feel like there's a new supplement company that comes up every week. And how do you stay on top of it? Like, how do you, against your competitors?
I really don't, right? Like, I guess what I mean by that is so there's two key frameworks. I focus on me. Right. Mm-hmm. And I know that the angle I want to take the business and what I want to do, what direction I want to take it. So I'm focused on that. But I stay up to date on like new ingredients that are coming out. I'm always doing research. But like when it's new companies hitting the market, things like that, I tune it out.
Stay in your own lane.
Yeah.
You're doing
focused
your own thing.
On me. Mm-hmm. And I learned this lesson. It was a hard lesson to learn because I used to be that way. Mm-hmm. And constantly, what's the other guys doing? What are they putting out? You know, oh man, they're running a sale, I better run a sale. And it just became stressful. And then I was too worried about what other people were doing and how do I outmaneuver them? How do I outperform them? And it just wasn't conducive to like growing the business. Yeah. It was just being too reactive. Like right now, I don't care who's running a sale. We rarely run sales now, where it used to be I was running sales all the time trying to outpace the competition and trying to get our products into more hands. And now I just want to build a brand that people can relate to, that people can get behind the mission. And ever since I've stayed in my own lane and just focused on the business, that's when it really started to take off.
Yeah.
You know?
I see it from my point of view from running a apparel company. Everyone's trying to keep up with dark sport. That's like the big thing, right?
Yeah.
Really, if you look at the market for fitness apparel clothing, everyone looks the same. It's all the
words all over it.
The very little words that really aren't saying anything. Have you ever even read the words that they're saying? No. I look in and I'm like, some of the companies, I'm like, what is that even saying? It's like, doesn't even make sense.
Really?
What it's saying. Yeah. It's just like, it looks cool, right? Yeah. That's like the cool thing to do. And I get it. Or you have the shorts with like the flames on it now, and like that's coming into style. But like, I think I agree with you in regards to you have to stay in your own lane, and you got to just do what, you know, being original is a big thing too. It's like, why are people going to come to you if you're selling the same stuff that everyone else is, just to try to keep up with the competition, you know?
Right.
Because we talked about it like in regards to supplements with, are you going to run a high stim supplement? And you were like, no, I'm not going to.
Absolutely
I'm not going to put out a $70 supplement pre-workout.
Right.
I mean, we look at the market and there's a ton of that. You know?
And that's the thing is like even Jax, who's one of my biggest resellers, and he's the first reseller to ever give me a shot and put us on his store shelves, right? Mm-hmm. And he sells a lot of Send It, our pre-workout. And he even told me, he was like, dude, if you make a high-stim version of this, I will sell 15 times the amount I sell right now, guaranteed. And so I won't do it, though. Like, that goes against kind of like our foundation of what we built the company upon, is to get away from these high-stim pre-workouts. And it sucks because, you know, I see other companies, and I don't want to go off on too big of a tangent, but there's one company I helped start up, you know, and he's doing very well, but I'm seeing him make some bad choices. Like he was against high stim, just like we were. And now he's chasing the dollar. He's launching a super high stim pre. And when we first launched Pump Action, you know, he you know, me and him would spitball and we'd kind of share ideas. And he's like, I don't think you should launch a pump pill. I don't really believe in them. And I was like, I do. I was like, I think they're a great addition and the benefits they offer. Well, now that he's in his company, he just launched a pump pill. And I told him, I was like, dude, if you don't believe in it, and you got to stick to those pillars you have.
To your guns, dude. Yeah. Stick to your guns.
You can't waffle. And, he flat out told me, is like, well, I launched a pump pill because everybody else is doing it. There's a lot of money to be made out there. I was like, dude, once you start chasing the dollar, that's when shit, it rolls downhill, man.
Yeah.
It becomes a slippery slope.
Yeah, and I think that falls back on having a strong mission statement, right? I think that's one of the big things that they always talk about is like you have to have a mission statement for your business for when everything fails, you can fall back on. Or if you lose your way just by a little bit, you can always look back and be like, this is what we stand for. This is our foundation, our concrete of the house, so that when you do, because I think it's easy to get down on yourself as a business owner when you have that bad week or you have that bad month or you have multiple bad months and you're like, what am I doing?
Right.
Am I doing something wrong? Is it failing? Like, where do I go? And you can fall back on that because it'll all come around. You just got to keep digging, man. You got to keep grinding at it because it's not easy for what people think, And I granted, like I've only been in the, health and fitness apparel business for 2 years, but I mean, speak for you, 5 years now, supplements?
8.
8
going
years.
Going on 8, but really only 2.
Right. 2 full time.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times in those 8 years were you like, should I just pack it in? Or, I mean, even the past 2 years, how many times where it's been multiple months where you're like, did I make the right decision? Should I just go back to corporate America and that comfy,
Yeah, I mean, I think you get inside your own head at nighttime. It's hard for me to shut my brain off, so it's easy for thoughts to creep into my mind. But usually they disappear like the next day once I get back in. And you're right, like if you have that foundation that you talk about, like we know what we stand for, we know what our mission is. So when we have rough days, rough weeks, whatever, that kind of keeps us pushing forward. Yeah. Because for me, it's easy to remember, like, this is what we stand for. This is what we're doing. And, it's important to have a strong mission statement.
Yeah, and I think giving back to the community also gives you a sense of purpose, Yeah. You with, Mission 22? I think it's important to just know that, like, you're also doing it. You have a bigger purpose than just making money, Yeah.
And supplements. And same thing with what you're doing with apparel, right?
Yeah.
For the powerlifting community.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope hopefully people can take it because, I just want more money to go into the sport because there's not that much money in powerlifting. I mean, there is starting to be, CrossFit's huge. There's money. Yeah. But a lot of these athletes aren't making a dime, So it's like if I can make a company that's going to push money back into the sport so that, hey, if you win this competition, at least you can get your flight and hotel paid for, like at the least, because shit ain't cheap. No. Like the Arnold's going on right now in Ohio, and people spend big money to go over there because, as we know, flights aren't cheap anymore. No. Hotels, food, you're there for 3 days.
Yeah, and especially when it is a big event like that, they jack up the prices too. So hotel stays are automatically going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
And,
So if we can throw back some money into the sport, that's great.
Do you have anybody competing at the Arnold?
Alex Cup is there on Until Death, and he competed last year, but he ended up taking this year off. He's just coaching there now.
Oh, is he?
So I don't have any athletes that are playing over there. How about you?
No.
Nothing?
Yeah.
I totally forgot until I saw the Arnold kind of crept up on me. Yeah. It's like, wow, it's the Arnold weekend.
Yeah. See, those things are kind of unique too. Like I have a lot of people that always ask us, like, "Hey, you're gonna go set up a booth at the Arnold or this and that." And for me, those are fun events to go to, but I absolutely hate working them. I hate working them.
The big events.
Yeah, and so we pulled back. Like we used to do FitCon. We've done LA Fit Expo. I'm not gonna do them anymore.
Can we talk about the LA Expo?
Yeah.
What about your letter that you got from California?
Which one?
The one where they said you owe X amount.
Oh, dude. Yeah, LA was the worst, and I'll never do the LA Fit Expo ever again. Like it was a complete nightmare, right? Like everything, you show up, and then like I had a big truck and a big trailer, and there's nowhere to park in LA when you're hauling a big ass trailer, right? So I'm driving around town. I'm like, well, what the fuck am I gonna do? And they're like, oh, you can park it, in our private parking garage over here. It's attached to the expo, and we'll keep it there for you for 3 days. I was like, sweet. It was like $1,000
just to park
it, and I couldn't detach the trailer, so the trailer had to remain attached to the truck, and you couldn't take it in and out. So once it's in there for 3 days.
Yeah.
So that means we had to Uber everywhere.
Oh my
So
God.
and it was just a complete disaster. And then like it was rough. And LA, they weren't too receptive of us. They're a bunch of liberals. Yep.
Yeah.
So we have like ARs on our shirts and stuff with USO supplements.
You can't have those in this state.
Yeah, people like glaring at us. We didn't do well in that show. But then we get back, and 2 years later, I get a letter saying that, hey, you owe us taxes from this show. And it's like, what? Like, no, I had to have my accountant fight it, because it's like we paid our sales tax into them for that show. And they're like, no, the average show was like $4,000 owed in taxes. So that's what you owe us. And it's like, no, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And for these shows, like, people think it may be sexy to work a booth or whatever, but it's a lot of work with logistics and actually grinding it out. And
the setup's an entire day. And then when you're there on your feet 12 hours a day straight, and you're just talking to people, like usually I lose my voice by the end of it, because you're just talking to people nonstop. And then the return isn't there, because if you're actually trying to sell stuff, every other supplement company or every other apparel company that you're going to be going up against, it has their stuff discounted, right? And so you're taking like 30 to 40% discounts, and then you still have to take the profit that you get and try and offset the cost of the show. Like if Fit Expo cost me in total, I think $14,000, and I think we did like 20,000 in sales.
Yeah,
which obviously it doesn't compute. It's not going to pay itself off. So that's the other reason, like me being you have to be very strategic when you're an entrepreneur too, because I see some of these entrepreneurs jump in and they want to go to these shows because they think it's fancy and they think it's going to get their name out, in which it could. It's going to attract new customers to you. But if you have a system in place where you can dump money into Facebook advertising or Instagram advertising, and you can get a 4-for-1, for every $1 you spend, you're going to get $4 in revenue, then do that. Like maximize that. Dump more money into that system than going to these shows where you're going to lose money. You're going to lose money on these shows. It's about just getting the name brand out there. But start off advertising, grow from there.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation.
Yeah. And let's talk about, especially in the fitness and health world, and talking about influencers and managing ambassadors in the fitness and health world. Because I know it's a headache sometimes, and it's like I feel like me and you sit down and talk about it, or you call me over the phone once a week and we talk about just managing people, trying to find the right people to represent the brand, because as you know, social media is the big thing with health and fitness. It's in regards to lifting, it's taken off. And that's where all your realistically, a lot of your revenue is coming from, getting your face out in TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. How do you manage influencers? Or let's just talk about the process of managing people, right? Because we've had that discussion of like, how do you get someone on board that is going to fully embody and really love your product so much that they're going to push it? And we have this discussion of like, well, as an owner, it's like, it really all falls back on you. And it's like, no one's going to love your company as much as you are. But how do you get it out to people that are in your group to embrace it, to be like, to help push that idea out of what your mission and what your goals are?
Yeah, I think that first off, and I'll throw it out, that a lot of people aren't ready to be ambassadors, or don't truly understand like what it means to be an ambassador, or a representative. of a company, right? Everybody, again, it's that cool factor. Like everybody's like, oh, I want to be an ambassador. It's going to be cool. I'm going to be able to say I'm associated with Until Death Barbell, or I'm one of their athletes, or, you know, I'm an UXO supplements athlete. But I think that a lot of people have this misperception that if I become that athlete / ambassador, that I'm just going to make a shit ton of money. That money's just going to start rolling in. And that's not the case. Like, to be a good ambassador, and this is for anybody who's thinking about it, listening to this, like if you're going to be an ambassador, you truly have to pick a company that's mission you can truly get behind, right? And I think that's where we failed, is we allowed people into our ambassador group that truly weren't behind our mission. They just wanted to be that cool person that can throw a link in their bio.
They just wanted the code.
Yeah, they want the code, and they want the commission. But especially when you become an ambassador for a smaller company, it's more difficult because people haven't heard of that smaller company. In most cases, it's going to be their first time. And law of averages, someone has to hear that name 21 times before they're going to even make a consideration to purchase. So at that point, it's you putting UXO in front of UXO or Until Death Barbell in front of that person's face 21 times before they'll make a consideration to make a purchase. So most ambassadors tap out because it's like being a salesperson. You have to have that mentality where you're going to go knock on 40 doors and get the door slammed in your face 39 times, and you're going to get that one yes, right? Successful salespeople are the people that can take that 39 no's and keep pushing forward because they know they're going to get that one yes. A lot of people, they put out a brand once, twice, they don't get any sales. Oh man, this sucks, it's not working. They stop, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like trying to get people to understand the true perception of what it is to become an ambassador and trying to lay that groundwork early. Like, here's the expectation. When you're representing a company, like, you want to be promoting it. Like, we're looking for you to promote the products. And then it's really just trying to find the people that, like I said earlier, support the mission. That, you know, I can tell that there's 10% of my group do 90% of my work in the ambassador group. And those are the people that are truly bought in, that post all the time, and they believe in what we're doing. And over time, then they start earning the sales. You know, they start earning commission from it. So it's trying to weed out the people that get that first no and kind of give up. And it's, you know, we don't want that on the team.
Yeah. What do you look for in an ambassador? Because like you, I get probably multiple people a week messaging us. So, and it's kind of funny because it's like, I'll get this message of this person. Hey man, I love what you do. I'd love to represent you, whatever. And I look and it's like, they just friended me 5 minutes ago. Let me look on sales. Oh, they've never bought a product. So I try to get it in their head like, hey man, thanks for reaching out. I appreciate you. I appreciate that you love what we're doing. But like, have you ever bought anything from us? Like, you don't even know what happens if I'm printing on shit. Like, what happens if my product it just tears apart, or like you wash it and it just comes apart and it's terrible. Like, do you want to represent that? That's what you want? You know, you've never bought a product for us, so you don't know what we're about. Why would you want to be on the team?
Right.
I'm not even saying from my perspective. I'm trying to put it back in their wheelhouse. Like, why would you want to be a part of a team that's like, or apparel company that's shit? Granted, we're not shit, but you don't know that if you've never bought anything, the product, you know? And I'm not here to sell you anything. It's like, I'm just trying to like
get them to think that
way. Yeah, just start like racking your brain.
Yeah, it's like, I'm trying to think of a good comparison, but you know, some people probably would. I was gonna say, would you go to work for like a drug dealer, right? Would you go work for a drug dealer if that and make that your career? Probably not the best career choice, right?
Yeah, probably not.
Some people might still do it, but yeah, like being an ambassador, first you have to use the product. Like Helimix, like I'll even use myself as an example, right? Helimix, before I became an ambassador, I'd used their products. I went and bought them off Amazon. And I loved them, and I begged them to bring me on. And luckily, they gave me a shot. But same thing. I love the fact the bottle's made in the USA. I love that they're pretty much indestructible. They have the best warranty on the market. Like, I know all this shit about them. And so when I begged them, they gave me a shot. Then all of a sudden, boom, my code started getting used. They're like, holy shit. Now I'm one of their top 5%, and they send me care packages all the time to promote the bottles before they're even released. So I can speak to this from being in the position of an ambassador, because I am one, for one company that I truly love and support. And, you know, but you're right. You have to use the product first. And we see the same thing. People will come to us, and that's why it's one of our key questions when people apply to become an ambassador. Like, what products of ours have you tried? Put your order numbers in here so we can look it up.
Yeah.
And I would prefer to have, like, my ambassadors, I'd prefer to have my best customers become my ambassadors, because they're the ones that are going to understand what we're about and know the product better than anyone else, because they're buying it consistently. Right, rather than trying to grow the ambassador team to huge numbers of people who are unengaged and not going to promote it and have never used it. Like, that's a horrible business strategy.
And there's a lot of businesses that do that.
Honest,
that will be like, and that's what I tell. You know, I tell those guys too. Like, hey, you know, we're probably not the right fit for you, but there's thousands of other businesses that you can just put in for it, and you automatically get a code.
Yep.
You know, and same with the supplement industry. You know,
see it all the time.
There's a ton of supplement industries that just have thousands of people, you know, but I don't know how I feel about that. From, like, I like the team aspect of things, especially coming from the military. Like, I like to have a good team around me. I don't want to have thousands of people that I'm not engaged with, that I don't know anything about, you know. That's just not until death. And I know that's not UXO supplements as well.
Right.
Let's get into influencers, because we've gone back and forth with influencers and trying to work with influencers, and you know, and it's funny because we've had the conversation of, like, man, we've had ambassadors that have done 10x over someone that we brought in that was big, that has a huge a big following, but they aren't pushing the product or don't really vibe or whatever it is. They have so much going on in their personal lives or other stuff that in their business wise or whatever, that they're not really engaged anyways. So it's like, why am I paying this person, this influencer, money or sending them free stuff when they're not even doing anything for it? When I have an ambassador that's like, I don't know, might have 100 followers, but god damn, do they love the product, and they're going to push it every single time, and their code is used more than a person that has 200,000 followers. And they're
talking to people in the gym about it, and they're totally. And that's, influencers are difficult, man. Like, I don't think I have any big influencers anymore. We had like 3 or 4, and I got rid of all of them, and it's for the very same reason. I think there's a lot that goes back to, like, entitlement too, you know. Like, some of these big influencers, and I'm not calling anybody out, and some people might get pissed that I say this, but the reality is there's a lot of people that feel that they're entitled, right? Yep. So it's like, send me all the free stuff. I have a shit ton of followers, but you got to think from both sides. It has to be a win-win. So if there's no return on investment for the business to be sending you product free, then, you know, why would they continue that relationship? And it kind of sucks, because that's where a lot of the market is going. It's influencer marketing, and a lot of companies use it and use it very well. You know, but also a lot of those companies I know pay paychecks monthly, right? And that's something that we just won't do. I'm not going to pay someone, you know, $3,000-$4,000 a month to promote our products. I would rather be authentic and genuine. Yeah.
You also have a lot of these big supplement companies have a lot of donor or backers too, that have put hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars into this company. So they have the capital to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas you, grassroots, realistically, in the sands of Afghanistan, UXO Supplements was born. Yeah. So on the back of your deployment money, this is where it's come to. You haven't taken really a dime from anybody.
No, we've made our own way, you know, just like you. And I respect companies that have come up that way too. And
it's go down the rabbit hole of influencers and ambassadors, but I like thinking and talking about leadership and managing a team. And that's what it is, right? Getting these people to have the same vision and goals and follow this mission. Like we're all in this together. So,
right.
And how do you do that?
It's difficult though with these ambassadors and influencers. Like we create different groups, like Discord groups that people can become. So you want to become community, right? So creating communities where these people can engage and stuff. But it's like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink. And you're going to have those people on the team that you give them all the tools, you give them the resources, you coach them, and they're not going to put forth the effort. And at that point, it's a willpower thing. Like they're just choosing not to.
Yeah.
Right? Because you give them all the tools, the skill sets that they can go be successful in the ambassador program. But at some point, it's not a good fit. Not just for us, for them too.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put it on them, and maybe we're just not a good fit for them too. And
yeah,
let them go so they can go find that company that they can be the successful ambassador with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times a week do you have someone message you on Instagram or TikTok asking for free stuff?
All the time. It's annoying.
What,
man?
What would you say to those people? Like, and again, it comes back to like, I try to give them the talk of like, try to be in my shoes. Like, man, this is my money, all my money going in. Like, I can't give free stuff to everybody. Like, I can't. Like, this is a business, man. Yeah. Like, I wish I could, but you probably don't deserve it. Why should I give you some free stuff? Why? Like, what have you done to deserve it? Just because you messaged me saying that I put a hashtag on Instagram and like, I am this CrossFit person that hasn't done anything and not bought anything from your store at all. Like, why
send me some free stuff.
Yeah. I'll promote it with my 1,000 followers.
Right. Dude, and maybe we use this as a coaching opportunity for people listening, right? If that's something that you want to be an influencer, you want to be an ambassador, if you're going to reach out to a company, there's a tactful way to do it. And if I were in your shoes, like I said, me going to Helix first, I bought their products. And Helix, because I don't have a huge following. I have like 13,000 on TikTok. I only have like 1,100 on Instagram. But when I reached out to Helix for them to give me a shot, it's like, I showed them like, dude, I'm using your products. Like I bought these from Amazon. I absolutely love it. And I was able to regurgitate to them like everything about their products. I love that you guys are USA, that you're made in the USA. I'm a patriot. I love our country. I love the fact that you guys have the best warranty. Like I would promote the shit out of this warranty because I've broken 15, 20 blender bottles, right? You drop a blender, you even look at a blender bottle, it's going to crack. Yeah. So, I approached it to them that way, and they gave me a shot, right? I'm sure they went to my social medias because Helix sponsors they have people everywhere too. And some of their followers or some of their ambassadors have hundreds of thousands of followers. So I'm sure they looked at my profile just like I would and were like, I don't know. Yeah. He doesn't have a huge following, but I think the way I came at them and knowing their product and showing them that I used it, they were like, all right, we'll give you a shot. And then my code started getting used. They're like, holy shit. Like, I have multiple emails from them like, dude, we're shocked at how many sales you get. And now I get these free care packages. So I never reached out to them and asked them for anything free. You do the work first and you're bound to get the free stuff. It's just like with anything else, you don't go ask for a promotion without putting in the work.
Yeah.
If I'm in a job and a spot opens up above me, I'm already doing that job. I'm taking time. I'm investing in myself and I'm doing parts of that job to show them that I can do it. So when that job opens up, there's no question who the next guy is in place. That's how I've always lived my life.
Yep.
You do the same thing with the ambassador program for a company you want free stuff from, a company you want to represent. Show them.
Yeah.
Be doing it already.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not trying to talk shit on the people that are asking for free stuff. I'm just trying to talk them through what my mindset is when I get that message,
Yeah. No, and you're absolutely right though. They need to, and same thing. They have to try and put themselves in the business person's seat so they can better position like, how do I become an ambassador? Just like you're doing with them. When you get that email asking for free stuff, you try and put yourself in their shoes. Like, why? Like, why would you want to represent us?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to be a win-win.
Yeah.
And that's what, again, a lot of these ambassadors fail to realize is, there can be free stuff. There can be commissions paid, but it's got to be a win-win for both sides.
Yep. So let's go back on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Advertising, keeping up with the algorithms of social media. It feels like every week or so, social media, Instagram, I don't know about TikTok because I don't really use TikTok that much, but the algorithm changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like Reels because with Instagram, they're trying to keep up with TikTok. So their algorithm pushes the Reels to more people than pictures now.
Well, they're changing that.
Okay, so this is what I'm talking about.
So Instagram's now going to favor more toward I think enough people complain because it was supposed to be it started off as originally a photo program, and then it developed more into videos and stuff like that. So according to some of the videos I've watched on YouTube, they're going to put more weighting on images and stuff like that, but they're really focused on engagement, things like that. So people who have higher engagement, or their posts are going to be pushed out more in front of people, but they're not front weighting Reels as much anymore.
Okay.
Going into 2023. So I've heard.
As it changes, how do you keep up with that stuff? How are you on the forefront of that? Because that's obviously the business model is heavily weighted on social media.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's been so many changes over the past couple of years, even like the iOS launch that broke Facebook advertising, right? Mm-hmm. Now Facebook, they've been able to skirt around it, but again, they changed like how you market to people and the way you do it to become successful. So staying up on it, honestly, it's a shit ton of research. Like at night, that's one of the things that keeps me up, and I'm on YouTube, like watching videos and trying to understand how Instagram algorithm works, or Facebook algorithm, how to make our ads better. Mm-hmm. Because for us, with us still being a small company, it's all in-house. Mm-hmm. Like we do everything. Like we've tried, and again, like we've tried hiring in or contracting out our advertising to advertising agents, and we always see just a steep decline in our performance because, like you said, nobody's going to care about our companies more than us. So we hire these firms, they go in there and they start shooting spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. Mm-hmm. And if they get something to stick, then they're like, okay, start dumping more money into this one. It's working. But that's a lot of trial and error and a lot of money lost before you find that one that sticks. Yeah. So we're pretty dialed in to where we just do it in-house. We know we're going to make it work.
Yeah, I remember we were sitting down and you were showing me the Facebook, the Meta business place, and you're like, this is how I do my advertisements. And you were showing me, you were like, okay, I have this one out just to play with it to see how many hits it gets. And then if that hits, then we dial it into like the amount of people, like our age groups are what we're looking for, that kind of stuff. Yep. And I don't think, I started 2 years ago, and as we talked about, it's like you really don't, there's no playbook for this kind of stuff. It's trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error and lots of YouTube hours.
lots of YouTube hour. But yeah, this is why I wanted to have this conversation, because I think a lot of people think it's going to be easy. Maybe I'm under the wrong impression, but it's not. It's a lot of work, a lot of different pieces that you're working with, because you're a one-man shop here. So it's like, okay, I got to get advertisement dialed in, as well as we can talk about content as well. Mm-hmm. How many hours do you put in for content every single week? Like, hours. Seems like every single, and that's the big thing, right? Like how many hours are you on your computer a day trying to edit video? Okay, once that video is edited, okay, I need another person, because I can't have the same person over and over again on social media. Mm-hmm. I got to get another person. Okay, let's set up times to get this person to shoot. Okay, what gym are we going to? Okay, we're going to this. Or what place are we going to? Yeah. Oh shit, they just canceled. I need a backup plan. Like,
yeah, that's the worst, when they just cancel on you. It's like minutes before.
Now you're trying to scramble to find some more content, because you're like, okay, well, I was gonna have this photo shoot, and or this video shoot, and it should have lasted me till the end of the week. Yeah. Now I have nothing. Now what?
Yeah. No, but so I think this is a relatable point to people, even with their own personal social medias. Like I used to think that I needed content every single fucking day. Like on Instagram, I need a post every fucking day. And yeah, it became stressful trying to create these posts and make sure that we had fresh new content. And I stopped doing it. Like now we post every few days or maybe twice a week even on Instagram. And I was afraid that our performance or our sales were going to slip and like we'd become irrelevant and people would forget about us if we didn't post every single day. And performance has actually gone up since I've switched to that. Like our revenue continues to climb. So my thought process behind it is like, I feel like there's individuals that are the same way. People are like, whether they want to become an influencer or they're in the fitness industry and they have to make a post every single day. You don't. It's okay to let days slide. Like stories, we get stories up, but my stories are mainly just, I'm sharing what people are tagging us in and I'll share it out in the story. So we always have stories every single day, but, posts, you don't have to do it every single fucking day. Your audience is still going to remain there. In fact, I think it's probably better if they see a post all the time from you, right? Like Barstool, I'm a huge fan of Barstool, but they post like 6 times a day, you know?
Yeah.
It almost becomes annoying. It's like, fuck, another Barstool post.
But doesn't that go back to the algorithm too? Like, wasn't it like a year ago that they were saying to post 2 times a day?
Yeah.
And then it was like one video, one picture, and like we're always trying to keep up with it, and it's
a stupid algorithm. Now I don't let that shit control my life. Like I'm just going to post when we have good content. I feel like it's better to have quality over quantity. So we have a post that looks good, that creates a good message, then yeah, we're going to share it. But I'm not going to create posts just to create posts to stay in front of people's eyes.
Yeah,
I feel like that's more detrimental to the business.
Now, have you found, and I found as well that, well, I don't know, this is the question that I want to present to you, but I have taken, let's just say, hours to create this post, and I think it's going to be the best. Like, it's a sweet picture. It's a sweet, like I edited it really nice, and I'm like, yes, this is going to get a ton of engagement, and then it's terrible.
Yep.
And then on the flip side, I've had posts where it's like, let's just see what happens, and it blows up. Have you seen the same thing?
Always, yeah. And that's, again, like I stopped caring about it because it's kind of like you talked about the business and chasing money. And when you do that, you're going to fail, right? Same thing with Instagram. Like if we create posts to try and chase likes, then probably it's not going to happen. So now I don't even care. I don't even really inspect it. When people make comments on our posts, I'll respond. But I'm not like going back in and checking, oh, fuck, how many likes did I get? Because there's people out there like, there's people I've been with, I'm not going to call them out, but I've been in their truck, I'm like, fuck, I made a post today, it's got half the likes it normally gets. It's like, why? Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with my TikTok, my personal TikTok. I think the last 3, if I look, I don't know where they're at now, but super low, but I don't care. Like it's content I want to create.
Yeah.
And if people don't like it or don't get to see it, then, oh, well, like I'm creating content I want to create, regardless of what the emotion or reaction is.
Yeah. Or you see the people that create a reel and say it goes viral or whatever, and then they try to recreate that over and over and over again, and they're like, wait a second, it's not working.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't chase, like, it's cool when something hits and it goes viral, but, yeah, you can't try and recreate it.
Try to chase it. Chase the dragon.
There you go. Chase the dragon. That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Chasing that high.
Yeah. How do you deal with hate? We talk about that. We've talked about, people, even personally, when you talk about supplements and you talk about these ingredients and people are like, what was it, DMA?
DMA, probably. Yeah.
When people were commenting like, this is bullshit, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, who are you to say that this is going on? Like, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with hate on a business level? How do you deal with hate on a personal level?
Yeah, I tune it out. It was hard for me too in the past, though. Again, it's just lessons learned over time. Like I used to take it personal. Like if someone attacked me on my personal Instagram or attacked the business, like I would take it personal and be like, and then I would respond and it would turn into an argument. And now I don't even care. Like I don't know who the people are, and they have the right to their opinion, and I don't even respond.
Yeah.
Like if they don't believe in what I'm telling them, that's fine. Like they can believe in whatever they want. And it's no skin off my back. Same thing with the business. Like I've had some people that have, voiced how much they hate our business for whatever reason. And it used to be like, oh God, I can't afford to lose this person as a customer. I got to do right by him and got to paint this. Like, no, some people are going to hate you, and that's okay.
Just
I think
because,
it's good.
Just because.
Yeah, it's good to have those haters, right? Because the more they talk about how much they hate your product, it's still, they're promoting it.
Yeah.
They're doing you a favor by promoting your product to other people that they're telling how much they hate it.
Yeah.
Some of these people are going to be like, oh, fuck, I've never heard of them. Let me go check these guys out.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sending them to my page.
Yeah. I hate bringing this up, but like Andrew Tate, for instance, this guy comes out of nowhere. People hate him and just keep reposting his stuff. Like, this guy's bullshit. I hate him. I've never gone down the rabbit hole of Andrew Tate, but I see a lot of people post about him, but it's like, you're just giving him more views on whatever he's talking about.
That's how I found him, was people were fucking, ragging about this alpha male, just like chauvinistic guy. And it's like, oh, let me go check this dude out. See, oh shit, he was a kickboxer? God damn.
Yeah.
No, he used to. But I wouldn't have known about him without someone sharing his profile and how much they hated him.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's really funny. Or Liver King.
Yeah.
God damn. Before he announced that he was on steroids, this motherfucker's on steroids. You can't tell me that he's not on steroids. Like, people just keep blasting him out. It's like, keeps getting followers. Like,
yep. Yeah. Yeah. I even did a post about that. I almost feel like, because even bad publicity is good publicity for a business. And, I even made a post because I felt like part of me feels like he outed himself. Like, he leaked those emails himself about him doing the steroids and stuff. Yeah. Because look at all the attention it got him. Yeah. And he's a smart fucking business dude. He's got private jets. He's got 4 successful businesses that millions and millions of dollars. Millions. Like, it almost makes me wonder, like, he might have done it on purpose.
Yeah.
A brilliant move on his part.
Yeah, right. Let's talk about diving into new territory, right? With supplements, you have a new electrolytes out. You have a new fuel point, which is intro carbohydrates.
Intro, yeah.
Is that what it's
fuel
considered?
Point,
yeah. Obviously, it's scary to make the jump because it's not a little bit of money that you're putting into these products. And you can do all the research in the world to say, hey, there's some bullshit out on the market. I think we can do it better. Let's talk about your mindset and when you feel like you need to introduce new products, because honestly, and we talked about it this morning, I talked about, how are things selling, and you're like, pre-workout and protein fucking blows it up. And a lot of supplement companies just run with that. It's just, all they have is pre-workout and protein. Yeah. How do you know when to step in and put a new product out in the market? And like, let's just walk through like the electrolyte formula. Like, why did you feel like you needed to do that? Like, because I don't see a lot of supplement companies with an electrolyte formula.
Yeah. It's just taking calculated risks, right? Like, looking at the electrolyte formula, for example, like a lot of it was just doing studying, right? Like, so figuring out what's out on the market, what's working, what's not. So we sold branched chain amino acids, and a lot of people are still buying and using branched chain amino acids, but a lot of the new clinical studies out there show that these branched chain amino acids that were once thought to be the building blocks of protein synthesis that'll help you stack on muscles are actually ineffective without the other essential amino acids. Well, we already had an essential amino acid with Charlie Mike. And so it's like, okay, we're going to stop using BCAAs because I'm not going to be selling a product that's ineffective. We want to sell products that are going to help people. And then I started thinking about electrolytes, because we had electrolytes in the branched chain amino acids to help with hydration and stuff like that. And everybody needs electrolytes. So it's being strategic in finding a gap, and we're obviously going to create a gap in our business by removing branched chain amino acids. What can we fill it with that's going to be effective? So yeah, with us, it's you have to take calculated risks, and that goes back to being an entrepreneur and not being afraid to take these risks. And if something doesn't work, like electrolytes, they've been slow moving, and we have to do a better job of educating customers on why they need electrolytes and the importance of them. And market them more. But at the end of the day, if it flops, then, oh, well, we took a calculated risk and we learned from it and move forward.
Yeah. Because it'd be easy to just go with the staples that, works.
Right.
Send it in or protein.
Send it in protein. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to evolve. Right. And so that's why we're constantly looking for new things we can add and how we can become better. Yeah, you have to evolve, and you can't be afraid to fail. Like that's been the thing that I've struggled with the most, being an entrepreneur. And I know that me and you have talked about it in the past, and I've even made some posts. It's like, I was constantly afraid to fail, constantly. And what happens is you won't make calculated risks when you're afraid to fail, because you're always painting the worst possible case scenario in your head. And that's the outcome and if that's the direction you're looking, then that's where you're going to go. Mm-hmm. And so you're already setting yourself up for failure. And you have to change that mindset. And it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or even in life, you have to be willing to accept failure. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Because when it happens, it's a good thing. It becomes a learning lesson.
Yeah.
That you can learn from and become better.
Yeah. Again, like people getting out of the military, right? People get scared to get out of the military because they're like, what am I going to do after? What am I going to do?
Yeah. Shit, I got out. I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything. We moved across the country to Boise. Mm-hmm. Didn't know where I was. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Let's just go.
Yeah. That calculative risk aspect of life, you're not going to get anywhere without jumping, like head first into something,
right?
Or staying complacent at it.
Like they say, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Michael Jordan, or
God damn, is that who
Michael
quoted
Jordan?
it?
I don't know.
I don't know. You just Michael Jordan. You just throwing out basketball players' names.
I think it was Michael Jordan that said it.
Dikembe Mutombo.
LeBron James. So let's get back on track with some positives.
Okay.
Let's talk about, what do you believe your biggest success so far has been with being an entrepreneur or UXO supplements, or what is the first thing that kind of comes to mind?
My biggest success?
I know you've done a lot.
No, I would say our biggest success was being able to do it full time. Mm-hmm. Doing something I love, being able to quit the job and jump into it head first. But there's so many successes, but I would say that's the big one in my mind. But every day, you have to look for successes every day. Mm-hmm. It's the little victories that add up to the big victory. And even when you were talking about, like, when you have that bad day, you have that bad week, you got to find a victory within that day, a victory that you had within that week. And you focus on that. If you focus on the bads that happen, then, again, wherever your direction or whatever your attention is directed towards, that's where you're going to go. Mm-hmm. So if you stay stuck in the mud looking at the negatives, then you're probably going to end up failing. Yeah. So if you can look at the positives every single fucking day and build upon that, that's how you build momentum and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
What about you? What was your biggest success?
I'd say my biggest success so far for Until Death, I mean, as we talked about, falls back on the mission of supporting athletes in competitions. We've put in over probably $10,000 or $20,000 into competitions and athletes within 2 years.
Dude.
Just by selling shirts. Like, we're not doing anything crazy.
Yeah.
But we're able to take that money and to go back to our mission and to support athletes, whether that's helping one of our athletes get to a competition with paying airfare, or, we've dumped a lot of money into powerlifting competitions. I think in the past two years, we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary in May, but I think we've sponsored about 50 competitions so far in 2 years.
Yeah.
So I would say that's our biggest success so far, is to help competitions, whether that's giving free merchandise to them to give to the lifters, or just giving them money and be like, hey, this is for first place or second place or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And now we are going to put on our first strongman competition coming up. And we have pro divisions for strongman, and they're going to get thousands of dollars if they win a competition. So I would say that's been our biggest success so far. Is, you know, we don't talk about it. We're in it.
Yeah, that's huge. And what I love is, so I just spun that question on you. What's your biggest success to date? Mm-hmm. And rather than calling out something that was financially driven, you went back to your foundation. Mm-hmm. And here's what we've been able to do. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's I mean, obviously, the more money that we can come in, the more people that buy T-shirts, the more people that buy merchandise from us, the more that we can do, right? So I'm not going to say that obviously it's not, our company isn't driven by money, because every company is driven by money. If you can't make any money, you're not going to do anything. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not going to bullshit and say it's all for competitions and athletes, but that's realistically where we're coming from, and that's what I want Until Death to be about, is for the athletes and in strength competitions.
Yeah.
So let's keep going down the list. Let's talk about overcoming failure, or perceived failures. Think back on a time while running the business that you thought something big happened, and you're like, how am I going to get over this hurdle? If there's an example that you can give, and tell the audience how you were to overcome that situation, and maybe bettered yourself from it, bettered the company from it, or you thought, you know, something's going to go one way and it went the other way.
I'm going to have to think through that. What about you? Yeah, because you're looking for like a specific example, something that happened.
If something's on the top of your mind that you can think of, like, I like giving people, you know, because someone might be might have a business and they're going through the same thing, and they can hear something like, oh, I was able to overcome this. Yeah. Trying to think of we haven't had many failures per se in 2 years. Yeah. Obviously there has been, I mean, just little things like you put out a product like a shirt or what have you, and you think it's going to kill, and then you have X amount of product that's never moved.
Yeah, you're just sitting on. Yeah. You have to liquidate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But you learned a lesson from it, right? That design didn't work. I'm not going to do another design like that.
Yep. So that's just something little that I could think of.
Yeah, we've had our hearts stop on us a couple times, right? Which felt like, in fact, we're dealing with one right now, which, and I haven't even told you about this, but we're working through it, and it's like, whatever, you know. So Amazon, and I'm actually excited that they did this. So if you go look for our products on Amazon right now, you will see that Send It is no longer on the site at all.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so Amazon removed it, and they contacted us on March 1st, email from Amazon saying your products are being removed until you can provide third-party testing to show that it is free of banned substances, and you have until March 1st to do this. Like the same day. They gave us no fight, but you know that, hey, Amazon, they know that that we got to be on there, and so you play by their rules. It's their world, we're just living in it, right? So no problem. I have third-party testing. So I send them over the third-party testing, which we pay. It's like $800 additional per product. When we launch it, we pay an extra $800 to have it tested, ensure it's free of banned substances. Every product. So every flavor gets that test. We submit to them the paperwork, and they say, nope, like this isn't going to work. You have to go through one of our 3 accredited labs. I'm like, what the fuck? So even though I pay $800 per testing, I now have to go pay their labs $800 per testing per flavor to get my products back on Amazon. How crazy is that?
That's crazy.
So
this must be for every supplement company.
Yep.
And it obviously just came down. So
I could take this scenario and bitch about it and just take it on the chin and complain and tell everybody about it and write the Better Business Bureau letter or whatever, right? Or I could accept it, be like, it is what it is, and go get this testing done and have it expedited and get my products back up on Amazon as quickly as possible, which is going to be about 2 weeks. So that's 2 weeks of lost sales through Amazon that we're going to take, and it hurts because our Amazon sales have been spiked, like they've been spiking, but I accept it. And looking at it from a positive standpoint, right? Because I do all those reviews on TikTok and I'm constantly calling out these products that are garbage, these questionable products that are using questionable ingredients, right? And a lot of them are being sold on Amazon.
Yeah.
So Amazon's tightening up their wheelhouse. It's like, great, that's a positive thing, right? Like, let's take it to these companies. It sucks that it's affecting my business, but I think in the whole grand scheme of things, this is a positive for the industry, for the consumer, for everybody. Yeah. So fuck it. I'm going to spend the 8 times how many flavors I have. So that's what, $4 or $5 grand to get my products back on Amazon. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And then
whatever.
Well, you've been on the forefront of this too, that you've always pushed that we're third-party tested. Like, so, and calling out all this bullshit that's being sold on the market today that people don't realize what they're taking, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, it's a blessing in disguise. There won't be any bullshit on Amazon, hopefully now, if they're third-party testing.
Yeah, if they're requiring everybody to have the third-party testing, shit, now we'll be double third-party testing.
Yeah, and now you can say you're Amazon blue check marked.
Yeah, there you go. I'm okay with it, you know. But like I said, that's a challenge that we're dealing with now. And again, it goes back to changing your mindset, looking at things positively, looking at things negatively.
Yeah.
And when I first opened the email, I was real negative. I was real pissed off, but I was able to redirect that energy to a positive nature and move forward.
Yeah, I think the mindset is huge in regards to, because you could have easily been like, well, fuck you, Amazon. I'm just going to take all my shit off of it then. I'll just sell it on the site, you know?
Yeah. Taking calculated risks. Again, you start computing in your mind, like, how much money am I going to lose? And everybody's on Amazon, you know, and you got to be on Amazon if you want to compete. That goes for any business. So
when we talk about mile markers, you talked about UXO that this year, and I haven't followed up with you in a little bit, but you were pushing for the $1 million marker. How do you set goals for your company? What does it look like? Like, do you have daily goals? Do you have monthly goals? Do you have yearly goals? Do you have 10 years down the road? This is where I want to be. Yeah. Where is your mindset for your company?
Well, I think you break it down into daily. And so I know what I got to sell daily to hit that $1 million mark, right? So basically, if I do 3.2K per day, and that's all it takes. Like, when you start breaking it down, you start seeing how small like a goal truly is. You break it down into these attainable little targets. It's like, oh man, that's cake. I can do that. My problem, and this goes for anybody, is you need to set the marker high. I used to not think big enough. I used to like, oh, I'm gonna, I want to get on this store shelf, or I want to, now I'm thinking bigger picture. It's like, how do I grow bigger? How do I take this thing to the next level? And I'm setting, what do they call them? BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals, right? I'm setting these audacious goals and really going after it. But for any business, you have to have something that you're going after. And for me, financially, that's the $1 million mark this year. It's like, how do I get there? You have to have that roadmap. So I feel like too many people, I compare it to like a roadmap in my head. Someone wants to get in the car and travel. You have an end destination. Well, is anybody going to jump in the car and not have an end destination? Where the fuck are they going? They're just all over the place. So you have to mark that spot on the map. Boom, here's my end destination. Here's where I'm headed. So that way you've got it painted in your mind. But then you need the tools and you need the resources in order to make it happen, which is now you're looking at the roadmap and, okay, I got to be on I-95. I got to exit at Salt Lake City on I-5. And I got to, it's taking those, throwing it all into the map. And now you have the direction, how I'm going to get there. And a lot of people too, they may have the end destination, but they don't focus on the tools and resources that are going to get them there and break it down and figure out how am I going to get to this mark. So now they're just, they may have the end destination marked on the map, but they're heading in the wrong direction. Like you're not going to leave Boise and try to make it to Detroit and head west. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. And not have to gas up. You're going to have to take some,
Yeah. So whip out the roadmap, find your destination, and then plot that motherfucker. So that's what I do. That's my analogy with it from being a business owner is always have my roadmap. What's the destination? How am I getting there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think this is a good segue to scaling, because we say $1 million marker, and then you look past that and you're like, scaling business is difficult and can be scary. Bringing on new people. I mean, as we sit here right now, we sit in your warehouse, and this was a dream of yours for how many years? You know, and you finally made it, and now you're like, okay, I've done that. Now I can bring on X amount of product, and scaling past $1 million now, because that's, you know, the destination is going to be way past that. What does scaling look like to you? Like, what's the next steps now, right? Because you just got to keep going. So what does that scaling look like?
From what aspect? Like
from just like a business aspect, what does scaling mean to you? You know, in regards to, obviously you want to keep going, and like for scaling, for instance, for your company, it was like, I need to get more product. Okay, I need to scale it. I don't have enough room because you were bringing it. You had you had to rent warehouse like not
storage units,
units, right? And you're like, I need a bigger place. Like I need to scale up. Yeah. And now it's like, okay, at the end of the day, now it's like, you're getting to a point where it's like, I can't do all this on my own.
Right.
Because it's so much, whether it's the amount of orders that are coming in, whether it's photography, because it's a one-man show, right? Yeah. So.
And that goes back to the roadmap. So it's like, okay, I know, like you said, we had to get more product in order to keep up with scaling. So we got the funding to do that. Now we've got more inventory. And it's like, okay, now I need a bigger place. So it's on the roadmap, it's like, okay, I got to exit here to fill up with gas. So then we get the warehouse. Now the next step is, I need more resources. Like we have the tools dialed in with Facebook advertising. So we have a system in place to where we can put more money in and get more money out. And that's the foundation of it. Like when you're a business owner, you have to have stuff dialed in, tools that are going to help you automate and get more money in. And so we do that through the Facebook advertising, the Instagram advertising, the TikTok advertising. Now the next step is, like, we're going to be hiring our first employees, and it's finding those individuals that are going to be able to come in and take up operational business needs, right? So someone that's going to be helping out with the shipping and, you know, checking product in, stuff like that. And it's like, okay, now we need the videographer that's going to be able to take that off my plate. So it's the baby steps. It's knowing sequentially what's my next step. And my next step now is adding more assets to the team to help it grow. Yeah.
And not putting the cart before the horse. And I feel like that's difficult to do as well.
And that's why I waited so long to get the warehouse. Like, and even when I got it, I was like, God, I still had that doubt in my mind. Is this the right time? But a lot of companies are wanting to put that CEO plaque up on the door. So they're quick to pull the trigger and take on, you know, too much debt. And that's, again, one of the reasons why 3 out of 4 will fail within the first 5 years, is because they weren't strategic enough with their money, and they rushed stuff, and the expenses got too much. And so we've been very, very patient and very, very, I've even been very frugal with our money and like what we've spent our money on, and every penny just dumping it back into the business outside of what I pay myself for a salary. Every other penny, like I could put that in my own bank account and give myself an automatic raise, right? But then the business doesn't grow. So it's constantly dumping the money back in to scale.
Yeah. Patience. That's a word that's not used very often nowadays. And it's so critical. I mean, we talk about this on social media, and you get this this weird view of people of how they got successful so quick, or they're just pretending to be successful. You put up that post like the other day, and I commented on it, and I can't remember the actual verbiage. It's like, I don't want to look like I'm successful. I want to be successful, or something like that.
The goal is not to look successful, but to be successful.
Yeah. And I feel like people put up this image, and people think that
facade.
It's going to be quick, because everything is quick nowadays, right? You want something instantaneously, you can get it through your phone. Like, okay, I want to get a pizza. Like, I can just get Uber Eats and it'll be here in 30 minutes, you know? And, or you look at social media and you see these people that are pretending to be successful, or what you perceive them as being successful. And it's like, I want that now. That instant gratification is spread across our culture right now.
Everywhere, yeah.
And it takes time for things.
Yeah.
And if you, again, like put the cart before the horse, you might fuck yourself. Like in a
100%.
business sense, you might put too much resources into one thing and then it just collapses.
Yeah, and like we talked about just a little bit ago in the podcast, is like, you know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and you know, you've got to take risks, and you can't be afraid of failure. But that's all when taking calculated risks, right? There's a difference between taking a risk that could bankrupt you immediately and taking a calculated risk, knowing what the outcome should be. So that's the key word. But you're right, dude. Our society, man. Like, look at TikTok and Reels on Instagram. It's all 30 seconds or less, 30 seconds or less. Like, people's attention span is that much, where they want to consume so much, but it's instant. And you're right. It's the way our society is built now, people are missing out on that, the patience. They're missing out on the long play of things, and they want things instantly. And you're right, it doesn't happen.
I want the money right now. I want to invest in this Bitcoin I can invest X amount of money into this Bitcoin, it's going to hit tomorrow, or
I'm going to be rich.
I'm going to be rich right now, one day, 24 hours.
There's no get rich quick scheme, you know.
No, but that's what you see on social media, right? Like, I feel like it's flooded. It's how to make money easy.
And dude, it's funny because what they're pawning on, there's a great book. It's The Millionaire Fast Lane, right? And in the book, he talks about these people that do those pitches. They're like, get rich quick and take my course and blah blah blah, blah, right? And what they're fueled on is the slow lane people, the people that think the only way you can get rich is to, you know, to win the lottery, or to, you know, the get rich quick scheme. Like, oh, I could, like, that's what the lottery's built upon, is people want that quick victory.
Yeah.
Right. And look at how many people buy lottery tickets. Do you buy lottery tickets?
No.
I do when it gets big. You know, it's like 6 billion. I know I'm not going to win, but it's like, shit, it's a 6 billion. I'm going to throw my name in that hat, you know, but never with the expectation of winning.
Yeah.
But if you did, shit, holy fuck, that's life changing.
Generations worth, right?
But that's what they talk about in the book, is there's the slow lane people that focus on, like, they feel like the only way to get rich is to get rich quick, or they're so focused on, hey, the 401k, and I'm going to put money away and that's where I'm going to earn. And those are also the people that are spending money. They're probably spending more than what they're making, right? Those are the slow lane. The get rich quick guys, or the fast lane get rich quick guys, are guys who are entrepreneurs, who find gaps in our society, like needs that aren't there, and they find a way to make it happen.
Yeah. And it's just easy to look on Instagram and TikTok and see these people that might present themselves as successful, but they may not be.
Yeah. And
it's like, then you start thinking, like, well, what am I doing wrong? This guy's 20 years old and has a Bugatti. Like,
Instagram only tells a part of the story.
It only tells the good part too. You don't see all of the shit behind the scenes, all the bad stuff. It only shows the vacations.
Yeah.
Doesn't show the grind to the vacation, you know?
Right.
That's all of the questions I came up with. I think we hit some good topics. Was there anything that you could think of in regards to entrepreneurship, or you think might be interesting to talk about for entrepreneurship?
No, I think that we hit quite a bit, and there's a lot that goes into running and owning a business, and it's not always pretty, right? But the biggest thing is, like, execution.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think I forget, someone put in one of our Discord groups the other day, they put a quote, and I expanded upon it. Right. Because, again, we talked about you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and taking risks and this and that, right? But when you look at it, ideas, our society treats ideas like gold. And, man, so-and-so got rich off of their great idea. But here's the funny thing is, they didn't, right? They may have had the idea, and I guarantee you that 20 to 40 people had that same idea before him.
Mm-hmm.
He was just the first one to execute it, right? And so the true gold should lie on execution, because people can have ideas, unless you put them into motion or nothing, they're worthless. But like I said, society treats them as gold.
Yeah, and how many people have you talked to that have this great idea? Like,
Right.
oh man, and they're so excited about it, but either they're scared to do it, or they're just a person that will never do it. They're just good with ideas, but the execution, like the one foot in front of the other, they get scared. You know, they just dip their toe in the water. They're like, no, actually, no, I'm not going to do that.
Not going to do it. Yeah.
You know,
and they're too afraid. Yep. And that's where the fast lane, or the entrepreneurs who will be successful, that's where they shine, is they're able to take that idea and execute it and turn it into life. Yeah. Turn it into fruition.
Yeah. And they talk about, like, with businesses, and you hear some of the big business moguls is like, really what a business is just, there's a problem in society and someone is executing an idea to solve that problem for a lot of people, like
100%.
A lot of people, like just solving a problem. And that comes with UXO supplements. You saw that there was some bullshit going on in the industry, especially when you were in Afghanistan. You saw these, and people were taking away your supplements, and you're like, wait a second, like why are we getting our supplements taken away? Like, I bought this online. It should be good to go, right?
Yeah, I bought it from a reputable company too, you know?
Yeah, and it's like with the apparel company, it's like, okay, tons of apparel companies. Nothing wrong with that. But also there's this need for athletes and competitions to have more money into it. So it's like, okay, I saw some bullshit. And that's where and it kind of goes full circle with like DIY, do it yourself. If you see a problem in your community or like in an industry, it's like you can pick up the cross, bear that cross, and you can fix it. Like if you put in, and I think that's what it comes down to. So I, you know, as people are going to listen to this, watch it on the video or whatever, and I'd like to tell people, like, if you see something wrong in your community or like in an industry that you're in, like no one is going to probably step up to the plate unless you do it. Like a lot of people get in their mind like, I'm not going to do anything because someone else will do it. And realistically, someone's not going to step up into the plate and actually help that industry or solve that problem unless you do something about it.
Right.
And we need more people now more than ever to solve the
society,
problems,
100%.
to solve the problems in our world, because every day it seems like more and more problems are going on. We need people to execute and to help, you know?
Right.
So.
Yep. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So be the thinker, be the executor.
Executor, man. Cool. Jon, entrepreneurship, baby.
Yeah.
Episode
Thank
2,
you, man.
3.
Good questions. Yeah. Excellent questions.
Excellent. I hope some people can take, and we need more entrepreneurs out there. And I'm not, and this is what the podcast was about. I just wanted to get people, if you're thinking about, you know, opening up your own business, whatever that may be, if you're a carpenter or whatever it is, like, and just give you a little spiel about what I've seen in my small amount of time in entrepreneurship, and hopefully you can take something out of this and do it, man. Take the step, you know, dive head first. Why not? And in my mind, I'm like going on a tangent right now, but it's like, I would rather get to my deathbed when I'm on that deathbed and not have regrets of like, I should have fucking done this, than to get in my deathbed and been like, you know what, I failed, but I did it. Cool. Yeah. I'd rather have failed, but have tried, than not have tried and have regrets that like, I should have fucking done that.
Yep.
You know?
You have one life. We have one life to live, so you got to make the best of it.
That's it. Jon, have a good weekend, brother.
You too. And for the people that watched, if you guys ever have any questions and this is something that interests you or you have ideas, feel free to reach out to us. Mm-hmm. I know, dude, I get tons of messages through Instagram, from TikTok specifically. People will transition over because they can't reach out to you on TikTok. And they just want to know, they'll ask me all sorts of different questions about how to start up a business or what they should be doing. I'm an open book. I'm always willing to provide feedback, answer questions, whatever. And probably save some people some money. I feel like I can pass it forward. I can pay it forward. Like the lessons I've learned, for sure.
Yep.
So hit us up. We appreciate it, guys.
Black Sheep Narrative.
Black Sheep Narrative.
Peace.
Yeah. Yeah.